Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I am trying something new today. I'm trying to do Camtasia, which is recording audio and video together, and I'm not real good at this. My first time to try it, so I might make a mess of it, but I've got an important message, and I thought it'd be really nice if I could show you what it was on the screen. So here we go. The topic today is, will America build the wall? As in, Donald Trump wall between Mexico and America. Is that actually going to happen? Well, I believe that I saw a revelation that's going to answer that question. Here's the story. So Sunday morning, of course, I typically arrive at church an hour before it actually starts. And there were some other people there, and I was talking with them. And I opened a Bible, and all of a sudden, the Bible verse that I opened to, I looked at it, and I thought, wow, that sure sounds like Trump's wall. So that's how I come across this revelation, and I'm not 100% sure that that's what it's saying, but it's high enough probability that I thought I would bring it to you and get your opinion. I think it could be answering a real big question for us. Okay, so the points to this broadcast are these. Jeremiah 51, verse 12, 44, and 58, those three verses seem to be saying that Trump's vision of building a wall between America and Mexico will be built. I'm a little surprised to see that. Jeremiah 51 is the great city mentioned in Revelation, are both America, and Donald J. Trump's campaign slogan, Make America Great Again, actually fulfills Bible prophecy, which I believe gives America the name of great. In other words, I think he gave America that name. And, of course, I hear people all the time talking now, we're the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Well, he gave us that name, great. And America, in much of Bible prophecy, is actually known as either great, Babylon the great city, Great Babylon, and Babylon. That's what I hope to accomplish in this broadcast today. Okay, first of all, you'd probably like to know the verses that specifically say that Trump is actually going to build a wall. Well, I'm going to go right to them. But seeing the verses is not going to answer the bigger question, because the bigger question is, are these verses really talking about America? That's the second thing I'm going to attempt to prove. And then the third thing is that Jeremiah chapter 51 and Revelation 18 and some other verses in Revelation tie together. They're kind of like linked, like two cities that are sister cities. Okay? These are sister chapters, and they're both talking about America. Now, not the whole book of Revelation, but there are places in Revelation outside of Revelation 18 that I believe are speaking about America. So let's get to it. First of all, I want to show you the specific places, the specific verses that I believe may, heavy on the word may be saying Trump is going to build the wall. Then I've got to go back and show you why I believe that's talking about America. Okay, so the first verses. Let's go to Jeremiah 51, verse 12, right here. It says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Since I believe when Jeremiah 51 is talking about a Babylon, you can just replace the word Babylon with America. Right now, if you ask people, is America known for walls? We would say, no, not really. No, no. We don't have much in the way of walls, bars, or gates. But it says here, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Now, without going into the rest of what that means, I just want to make that point. The next thing is to go to verse 44. And it says, and I will punish Bel in Babylon. We'll come back to that part. And I'll bring forth out of his mouth that which he has swallowed up. And here it is. The nations shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. Well, if they don't build a wall between Mexico and America, how can it fall? Now, granted, I used to think before I ran across this revelation that this is probably talking about just the strength of America, maybe specifically the military, and it may still mean that. But it also may mean that Trump actually does build that wall. Now, if you look closely, it says the nations shall not flow together any more. Well, could that be saying that immigrants no longer want to come to America? Well, if immigrants don't want to come to America, why would that be? Well, it could be that our economy falls. but probably for sure it's because nuclear weapons went off and they don't want to come here. All right, now let's go to the third verse. Verse 58, down here. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. Well, again, America doesn't have a wall right now. So since I believe these are speaking about America, and it's talking about as if America already has a wall, the question we have to ask ourselves, is this talking and is this saying that America is, in fact, going to get the wall? It certainly appears so, while I don't think it's a guarantee. Now, let me back up, because the next thing you got to be convinced of is that these two verses tie together. Revelation 18, we know for certain the angel that spoke to Dimitri said specifically, Revelation 18, the whole chapter is talking about America. Well, Dimitri and I also agreed that Jeremiah 50 and 51 are also speaking of America. And since and this next point I want to prove to you is that I believe that they're linked. They're kind of like sister chapters, and you'll find many of the same prophecies that are in Jeremiah chapter 51 are also in Revelation 18 and a couple other places in Revelation. So that's the next point I want to make. Now, this takes a little reading in the Bible, and I know that some people don't like to read the Bible too much, but if you really want to understand the heart of God, got to spend some time. Got to take the time to read His Word. Jeremiah 51, verse 12. Now, what I'm going to do is read, in this case, there's two verses, and then I'm going to go to another verse that shows you, in another place in this Bible, in this case it's in Isaiah, but it shows you that it's a confirming verse, and in most cases, I'm going to take you to Revelation, shows you the same words. All right, so, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes for the Lord, hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. So there's the walls of Babylon. Now let's go to Jeremiah 51, verse 39. This is saying that America is not going to wake up. This is kind of sad news. We'd like to think that Trump could actually wake up America, but this is what it's saying. In their heat, I will make their feasts, in other words, they'll keep partying, and will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake. Then verse 41, I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter. You look up, and I did, lambs to the slaughter is a specific term referring to Christians. And in Isaiah 53, verse 7, it specifically is talking about Jesus. He was oppressed, he was afflicted, and he opened not his mouth, and he was brought as a lamb to the slaughter. So we know that specifically Jeremiah 51, verse 39, when it says lambs of slaughter, it's talking about Christians. That's not talking about the old Babylon. Now, yes, there's many places in the Bible that it is talking about the old Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar and all that sort of stuff. But that's not what these are talking about. Now, let's go to verse 41. How is Shishak taken? That's another word for Babylon. And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? Right now, America is kind of the shining hill, or the city on the hill. America is, you hear it all the time, greatest nation on the earth. I mean, I hear it on Fox News all the time. That's what it's saying. The praise of the whole earth is surprised. The whole earth is shocked when America falls. Then you go to Revelation, you find almost exactly the same words. Verse 7, Revelation 18:7. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I set a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And I think that that's largely due to the fact that most Americans, most pastors, most churches teach their people that they don't have to worry about all this tribulation stuff coming up, all that prophecy, because they're going to be raptured out. Well, that's kind of the explanation of it. I said a queen, I'm no widow, and shall see no sorrow. But God says she's glorified herself and lived deliciously. Well, down here in Jeremiah 51, verse 41, says the praise of the whole earth is surprised. Everybody says, wait a minute, this is the great Babylon. This is Trump's America. This is the greatest nation on earth. How can they fall? I mean, she's too big to fall. No. Verse 42. The sea is come upon Babylon. Now, there's several prophecies talking about a meteor hits, about tsunamis, about how the Great Lakes would be split from the Great Lakes all the way down to Mexico. That would certainly cause And the next verse, it says, and she's covered with a multitude of waves thereof. Now, that's Jeremiah 51:42. Then you go to Revelation 18:21, says almost the same thing. And a mighty angel took up a stone, like a great, there's our word great again, great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying thus with violence shall that great, there's our word great again, that great city Babylon be thrown down, and should be found no more at all. Meaning that when America falls, she never rises again. But I might add that the reason she falls and never rises again, because by the time she falls at the very end of the tribulation, the whole earth is removed. And there's a new heaven and a new earth set up. So here we see Babylon's covered with a set of waves, and this is from a great millstone, and 2 times it says great. Now I mentioned that because let me flip down here. I've got to scroll down. I want you to notice, look at several of the pages here. If you're watching, you folks in radio that aren't watching, you can view this at prophecyclub.com. You see the word great, but keep looking. Look at all the places. We're going to cover this. All the places where it's talking about great, and I believe those are places talking about America. Then let's go to verse 43. Now this is Jeremiah 51. Her cities are desolation, a dry land. Wait a minute. You just said that the multitude of waves are going to cover it. Yes, that's a tsunami. But other than that, apparently God turns off the rain. Well, we know that that is exactly what the 2 witnesses do. They shut up the heavens so that there's no more rain for the last 3.5 years. Cities are a desolation, a dry land, a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth. Why do they don't dwelleth there anymore? Well, maybe it's because of radiation. Neither doth any sun pass thereby. And I will punish Bel. Now, see those 3 letters there? Bel and Babylon. Well, what is that? I just looked up, and this article here is on the internet. It's called Palmyra Arch that survived ISIS to be replicated in New York. And the article goes on to say how they have carefully reconstructed the statue of Bel that was in Babylon, and they brought it to New York. So the prophecies say, I'm going to punish Bel, the statue of Bel, in America. And this particular article specifically says that there is now a Bel that has been rebuilt, the same Bel. That's an idol. That's a god, okay? That same idol has been restructured in America, in New York specifically. I will punish Bel. Let's go on, though. I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he swallowed up, and here it is. The nations shall not flow together any more unto him. I believe that that may very well be saying that immigrants no longer want to come into America. And the wall of Babylon shall fall. That may be saying that Trump does get his wall, but there's a time when either they don't want to come in or they can't come in. Maybe it's because of the wall. But the Bible says that the nations shall not flow together anymore, meaning they don't come here anymore. Now, it may be that the wall holds them back, or it may be they don't want to come here because of the radiation. But the point is, in association with the wall being built, the nations do not flow into America anymore. Jeremiah 51:45. My people, go out of the midst of her and deliver every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. So there's a time when God is going to tell Christians, his people, to leave America. That's Jeremiah 51. Would you believe we found the same verse in Revelation 18? And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. See, again, I'm making my point. Jeremiah 51 and Revelation 18 are 2 sister chapters. They're linked. They confirm each other, and they are saying that there's going to come a time when there's a wall that keeps people out of America. Now, you want the verse on that again? That's Jeremiah 50, the very, very best verse, Jeremiah 51, verse 44. Jeremiah 51:44. The nations should not flow together anymore unto him, means into America, yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. So there's a time when people from other nations do not come to America, and it's talking about a wall. Next verse. And lest your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land, a rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that another year shall come a rumor. Here it is, this important part. And violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Do we have any other prophecy saying that there's going to be violence in America and ruler against ruler. In other words, an internal revolution. Yes, we do. Well, Dmitry said that. Fall of America starts with an internal revolution. However, Pastor Massey also said the U.S. military will come up to help Trump to take control of the public. The public will go out of order. Terry Bennett says what the United States is going to go through is civil war, civil conflict, and invasion. You'll go through a dramatic change in your government. There will be a time of anarchy and chaos. So that's a ruler against ruler. For a while, you'll have a fractional government, which means basically the government will come down to the state level because of the military stepping in and having to seize control of the federal government. Now, you call it a coup, but in all honesty, it'll be to help our nation. That's why the military will step in. And once again, we back up. We look, Jeremiah 51:46 says, ruler against ruler, confirming. This is talking about America, brothers and sisters. Verse 47, Jeremiah. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon. Well, right now, there's not too many graven images in America, but it's coming. And her whole land shall be confounded, that means confused, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Okay, is there another verse in Revelation that says that there's going to be many people slain in America? Yep, Revelation 16:6. For they have shed the blood of prophets and saints, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. Jeremiah 51:48. The heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon. This is telling a time when the heavens actually rejoice at the fall of America. Got a confirming verse in Jeremiah or in Revelation for that? Yes, I do. Revelation 18:20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. So we're seeing Jeremiah 51, Revelation 18, sister chapters overlapping, both talking about America, and Jeremiah 51:44 talking about a wall and a time when people don't come into our nation anymore. Jeremiah 51:49. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, means we turn against Israel, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Sister verse on that? Yes, I do. Revelation 18:24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and all that were slain upon the earth. Meaning that, yes, there's a lot of Christians slain in our nation, but God hangs all of the Christian blood from all of the nations around our neck. Why? Because we're supposed to be the one that holds up the standard. That means we hold up the Bible. We're the one that's supposed to be stopping evil. We don't stop evil, so God blames us. Jeremiah 51, verse 50. Ye that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. So here Jeremiah 51 is saying to the Christians, leave America. You got a confirming verse in Revelation 18 for that? I do. Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye receive not of her plagues. Sister verses, sister chapters, both saying America falls, both, well, the one talking about the wall. Jeremiah 51:53. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, okay, now, has America mounted up to heaven? Sunday, July 20th, Apollo 11 landed on the moon. An American astronaut, Neil Armstrong, became the first American to ever walk on the moon, person ever to walk on the moon. So it says that Babylon is going to mount up to heaven. Jeremiah 51:55, because the Lord has spoiled Babylon and destroyed out of her the great voice. So there once again, God is calling us great. Trump landed the name Trump, or the name great of America, on America. Jeremiah 56, verse 56, Jeremiah 51:56, because the spoiler has come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken, every one of their bows is broken. Now, I believe that's talking about military. For the Lord God of recompenses shall surely requite. Now, everybody wants to say, can America turn around? Jeremiah 51 verse 9 says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Let every man returning to his own country, which is another confirmation to the other verse we talked about. However, are we going to wake up? Is America going to wake up? Is America going to be great again? Here's your answer. Verse 57. I will make drunk her princes, her wise men, her captains, her rulers, her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, her gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. Meaning, we see here a time where America is not able to wake up, associated with walls in Babylon that we do not have right now. So apparently, Trump gets his wall. That's what the prophet, if you kind of add 2 plus 2 and read between the lines a little bit. But I want to go back to verse 57. I will make drunk her princes, her wise men. What are the princes? Well, that's royalty. Wise men, is that maybe the people that teach us, teachers and professors? Her captains, well, that's military. Her rulers, that's probably your congressmen. Her mighty men, that may be the wealthy men, the international bankers, and they will sleep a perpetual sleep. So apparently God doesn't allow America to wake up because we turn from Jesus. Now, let's go on. Next point I want to make is I want to show you how Babylon and the word great are tied together, and this is specifically talking about America. Now, before I do this, since you're looking at what I'm showing you, I'm going to back up. I want you to look at this page here. I want you to look at 2 words, the word great and Babylon, just those 2 words. Here we see Babylon, here we see Babylon. Here we see great, here we see great. That's just on one page. Next page, we see great, and we see Babylon. Next page, now all of this, I've highlighted the words great and Babylon. The point I'm trying to make is America is, in the Bible, referred to as that great city, great Babylon. And the other thing is that we are the Babylon. And I'm going to show you the verse here in just a second that absolutely positively, in my DVD, I made point that this is the verse that proves that Revelation 18 is, in fact, speaking about America when you understand what those words mean. Now, let's go to Revelation 18. We're looking for the 2 words, Babylon and great. Again, listen as I read through this. Listen to Babylon and great. Babylon meaning America, and the word great meaning Donald Trump hung that name on America with his slogan, Make America Great Again. Revelation 14:8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. I believe that means that there's 2 fallings. There's 2 destructions coming on America. The first is fallen is when the Russians attack at the beginning of World War III. The second one is done by Jesus at his return because she shed the blood of saints and prophets and all that was slain upon the earth. The first one is because of sins in the church. Second is because the blood of Christians is shed. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. I believe that sin, the reason, the how, and the why that America is making all the world fall is because of our movies, our printed matter, and our music. But the biggest thing is movies, because we are the nation that makes the filthy movies that corrupt all of the world. And that's not abortions, okay? It's not even because of sins in the church. The primary reason God destroys America is because we corrupt the rest of the world. Revelation 16:19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. Now, this is talking about the time when Jesus returns. The great city, in my opinion, this is referring to, is Los Angeles, not New York, Los Angeles. My last DVD, I explained and gave you all of the details. It took about 15, 20 minutes to explain that. It's Revelations on Revelation, and I explained that. The great city, Los Angeles, divided into 3 parts, the cities of the nations fell. What does that mean? They don't fall military. That's not what he's talking about. That's when every high place falls, every low place raises, the rough places are made smooth, and the crooked places are made straight. That's when every high place falls and there's no more sea. That's when Jesus arises to shake terribly the earth and the channels of the sea are seen. That's when the foundations of the mountains are shaken. That's when the whole earth is made into a nice round smooth ball, except one mountain, and that's where the New Jerusalem goes. Now let's jump down to the middle of that verse, Revelation 16:19. And the great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. That's at Armageddon and the very end. Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I'll show you the judgment of the great whore, America, which sitteth upon many waters. That means that this is the nation. Yes, it's referring to, I believe, the Catholic Church, but there are Catholics in America that sit upon many waters, and in another place it says the waters are people. 17:5, and upon her forehead was a name written. Now notice, I used to think that this was like 2 or 3 names. Let me explain what I really believe it is. Upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. I believe it's Mystery Babylon, one line. The Great is another line. The mother of harlots and abomination of the earth is another line. In other words, it's really saying 3 things. Mystery Babylon is one. Mystery Babylon. Why? Because if it had said America or the United States of America, it wouldn't need to say the word mystery. Mystery means I'm not going to tell you the name. You got to figure it out. Mystery Babylon is talking about this nation. Why? Because if God had put the United States of America in place of Babylon all throughout the New Testament, would anybody have ever named this nation the United States of America? No. I mean, just like, okay, let's see, what's the think of a traitor. There was a traitor. I had the name on the top of my head here, but I just forgot it. A traitor for America. Does anybody name their children after a traitor or a murderer? No. Well, in other words, we wouldn't name America after something so bad that was written in the Bible because our founding fathers, many of them were Christians. Okay, let's go on. Verse 18 too, Revelation. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great. So here it's basically saying America. It's almost saying the same phrase that Trump uses, make America great again. Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. That's the second time it says is fallen. As a matter of fact, there's 3 times in the Bible that it says is fallen in relation to Babylon. And has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. I don't think we're there yet, but I do think we're close. In other words, you want to know what America is going to be like when God finally destroys her? There it is. Verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment. You know, there's about 3 or 4 places in Revelation 18 where it says standing afar off. If a city were burning, for example, would you stand far off? Well, yeah, some of us would, but there'd be a lot of first responders that would run into the city. If a car is on fire, do some people run from the car on fire? Yeah, but some first responders run to the fire. But in this case, everyone stands afar off for the fear of her torment. Why? Because this is not a city burning from fire. This is a city burning from nuclear bombs. And they're afraid of the nuclear reactions. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city, Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Verse 16, saying, Alas, alas, that great city was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet. That's the verse that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Revelation 18 is talking about America. But it takes a little while for me to explain that. Get the DVD, Revelations on Revelation. I'll go through and I'll explain it. But the simple answer is this. When you go back and research the words fine linen, only one thing in all of the Bible that wears fine linen, and that's God's people. So when he says fine linen, he's saying Christians. He's saying those people that believe in Jesus. Then it says, clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet. There's only one thing that wears purple and scarlet, and that's his priests. See, we are a nation of kings and priests. Some kings, some priests. But we are a nation of kings and priests. We're a nation of Christians. We're a nation of God's people. So when it says in Revelation 18:16, The great city was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet. It's saying America. It's saying this is the Christian nation, my premier. These are my people. These are my people. That's what it's saying. Decked with gold and precious stones and pearl, my people that I have blessed, and they've turned from me. Verse 17. How long does it take for America to fall? For in 1 hour, so great riches, there's the word great again, is come to naught. I'm not going to read the rest of the verse. I'm making my point. Great. I want you to hear the word great through all of this. Next verse. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is likened to this great city? Verse 19. They cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping, wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city. Verse 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city, Babylon, be thrown down, shall be found no more at all, will fall and not rise again. 23. The light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were thee, here it is, the great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries, I believe sorceries are talking about movies, music, and printed matter, filth coming out of Hollywood. 19:2. For true and righteous are thy judgments, for they judge thee, there it is again, great whore. So, in summary, I think that there's a very good possibility that this verse, let me scroll up here since you're looking, Revelation or Jeremiah 51 verse 44 is the strongest place. Nations shall not flow together anymore unto America because of the great wall of Trump has been built. But that wall falls. Then if you look back over here, we see that Jeremiah 51, Revelation 18 are linked together. They're sister chapters, and that Babylon and the word great are also descriptions of America, and Trump called us the great city. I mean, he hung the name on us. Make America great again. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless.